Yeah, it's easy to tear down. It's easy to find faults, and this is what kind of bothers me. Like I know of people who teach this idea of critical thinking, and they think that critical thinking means to find problems with things. No, that is absolutely not what critical thinking is. Critical thinking is something very different. It's finding problems, yes, but more importantly, it's finding solutions. Problems are easy to find. I promise you, if you talk to me for just a couple of minutes, I can find all kinds of problems with your life. Can I help you fix them, though? Well, that's something completely different. Are there problems with capitalism? Yeah, and sitting there and criticizing it doesn't make you a deep thinker. Coming up with solutions is what makes you a better thinker. Are there problems with socialism and communism? Yes. Pointing out those problems does not make you a deep thinker. Those are obvious. Can you come up with solutions within those frameworks to make those things work? That's real thinking. Are there problems with your life right now? Yeah, of course. Of course there are. Can you come up with solutions for them, though? That's the real thinking. Simply criticizing things and tearing things down, man, I understand that's the leisurely activity of our day, to find problems with things, criticize them, and then fold our arms and scratch our chins and frown. And that helps us to feel better about things, like the world is so terrible. How do you fix it? You know, people say these things like, we don't deserve dogs. Oh my God. How do you fix things then? In fact, how do you fix yourself? Start with that, because the problem, of course, is not just with the world. If the problem was with the world, then we're doomed. And that's why we like to believe that the problem is with the world, because that takes away all of our responsibility to actually do something about it. But what's the world made up of?
Us. People.
Yeah, people. It's made up of us. So how can you make the world a better place? Well, you fix yourself. And then once you fix yourself, you don't go around trying to fix other people. You help other people who want help being fixed. But of course, that's not just you going around telling people, you need to fix this and you need to fix that. It's about if people find those things within themselves that they want fixed. Having put yourself together well enough so that you're able to help other people. It's kind of like if you want to, if there are certain charities that you like a lot, and you think like, I don't know, like St. Jude's. St. Jude's does some really incredible work. I wish people should give more money. You know what we should do? We should tax billionaires in California 0.5% of their wealth and give it to St. Jude's. And then we're all like, yeah, that's right. That's what we should do with billionaires. Why don't you donate money to St. Jude's? Well, I'm not a billionaire. No, but you are in terms of everybody who's in this room right now, regardless of how wealthy or poor you are. If you're here, you're in the top 1% in the whole world. Even if you're poor here, you're still wealthy in most other places. Everybody in here has at least one pair of shoes. My guess is many of us have two. All of us here have a couple of pairs of pants, probably more than that. And so if you want to really make that change with St. Jude's, why don't you sell those things and donate your money to St. Jude's? Because we're really good at telling wealthy people what they should do with their money. And of course, wealthy people, as you said, are very good at telling poor people what to do with their money. So maybe we shouldn't be telling other people what to do, but we should identify those ideals, the things that we really believe, the things that we really stand for, the things that we really think are going to make a positive difference in the world, and get behind them and support them with everything that we have, rather than point to other people. Because, like for example, we look at Elon Musk and we say, the guy's worth, what, $100 billion? How much money do you think he has in the bank?
More? Probably more.
More than 100 billion?
More than 60,000?
Yeah, maybe 60,000. Yeah, this is not, when you look at people who are really wealthy, he's not wealthy in terms of having cash in his wallet. He's wealthy in the sense that he owns stock in a company, and the stock is worth a lot of money. Now, if he were to sell off all of his stock, would he have $100 billion? No, because as soon as you start selling it, especially when you sell it in mass, the value of the stock now starts to go down. And so he can't even sell off his stock. In fact, he probably has it in his contracts that he can't sell off more than a certain percentage of his stock. And it's probably like 2%, 1%, maybe 3%. So even though he has all of this stock, he can't even liquidate it and sell it and then keep the cash for it, largely. Because doing that would drive the stock price down, which would destroy all the stockholders. Which is why he wanted to buy Twitter outright. So there would be no stockholders. So it would just be his, and then you can do that. But if you own part of a publicly traded company, you can't do stuff like that. And so how much money he has in the bank is not predicated on how much he's worth. It's like there are celebrities out there, and you'll see like they're worth $75 million, and we're like, wow, they're worth a lot of money. That's because they have a house that's worth $70 million, and they're still paying a mortgage on it. They have a huge mansion in like Bel Air or something like that. The $70 million would be an exaggeration, but you get the idea. And so it isn't that they have a whole bunch of cash; it's that they have something, and that's worth a lot, and they earn enough money so that they can make payments on that. Now, I'm not saying, therefore, well, Elon Musk, we should send him money because he's struggling. I'm not saying that whatsoever. All I'm saying is that we tend to look at people like that, and like Jeff Bezos, and they're like, man, for $100 billion, we could really change something. I don't know if you guys, this is a great story if you don't know it. This is, 2 or 3 years ago, I think it was. There was someone from the UN who was criticizing Elon Musk and said something to the effect of like, $7 billion we could eradicate world hunger. And then he was saying that in terms of Elon Musk being selfish because he has so much money. So Elon Musk, and the guy tweeted it out. Elon Musk tweeted back at the guy and said, show me how that works, and I will sell off $7 billion of Tesla stock and donate to the UN. Yeah, the guy couldn't do it because it's a bullshit number. It's not real. He couldn't show that. It's just a number he comes up with. And Musk straight out said, if you can eradicate world hunger for $7 billion, tell me. Show me how. I will donate the money immediately. And of course the guy's like, wow, well, it's more complicated than that. Well, of course it is. Of course it is. Because we have exaggerated ideas of what we don't know. And not just in terms of how big a problem it is, but also how small a problem is as well. The problem with world hunger is not just a money problem. It's a cultural problem. It's an economic problem. It's a governmental problem. It's a societal problem. There's a reason that some cultures are prosperous, others are not. And it's not just a matter of, one culture has more money. I mean, that's kind of like saying, why is this country rich? Because they're rich. Well, how'd they get there in the first place? There are cultural and governmental systems that allow for that kind of thing to happen. Like, I saw your hand, I'll get you. Well, like, for example, I've pointed out before that there's a high correlation between how much people within a country trust each other and how prosperous it is. This is one of those reasons that it's so important for us to come together culturally and to have a shared culture, because that's one of the things that promotes trust among people. When we kind of separate each other out, and it's like, you'll have your culture, I'll have my culture, and and it's all kind of disparate, and that we no longer trust each other. Culture is something that helps us to trust each other. And again, there's an intense correlation between how much people within a country trust each other and how prosperous the country is. The United States has one of the highest trust indexes in the world, and that's why we're so prosperous. Now, why does that matter? Think about a company like eBay. So eBay comes along, and for us today, it's just like, yeah, you just buy and sell stuff online, it's no big deal. But if you can go back to and just kind of mentally put yourself when eBay starts, and the internet is not that old. The internet doesn't go back to your grandparents, man. The internet comes about when I'm in my early 20s, so we're going like 20 years ago. This is not a super long time ago. But the whole thing behind eBay was, I'm going to take a picture of something, and I'm going to put it on their website and say, send me $10 and I'll send you this. And you look at the picture and you're like, that's a good price for that stamp. So you send me $10. And then I just wait. And eventually it shows up in the mail. You could only do that if people within the country trust each other. If instead you look at like, I'm not sending you $10, how do I know you're going to send it to me? I can't, I don't trust people. You can know that you can't do that. So what does that mean? It means that if eBay was started in a country that did not have a high trust index, it would have failed. But because it starts here, it succeeds. And that generates billions of dollars in tax revenue. That generates tens of thousands of jobs. That generates economic prosperity because we trust each other. That can't happen in places where we don't trust each other. I offered everybody the second semester PowerPoint last semester. Guess how many people asked me for it? Zero. But then we get mad at me because I'm the asshole for not accepting things late. Or because, I don't even know why I have to do this. Because you don't know what you don't know. You have an exaggerated idea. There's an incredibly good reason you have to do these. And it's interesting how nobody this year has ever asked me why we do these. It's amazing, yeah.
And a lot of those feelings tend to stem from the fear of like not being good enough to do it in the first place. I went through a phase where I just didn't want to do any work, Just because in the beginning I just thought like, oh man, I'm not gonna get anything done. I don't know how to do this, and you just give up. And you never learn and grow and adapt to learn and be able to do it because you're so scared of yourself failing. But at the end of the day, who are you really failing?
Yeah. And it's like people have said, like, after you talk about it, I don't have anything to say. It's like, whatever I was about to say is nothing like what you said. Fine. Don't compare yourself to me at 18. Compare yourself to me at 40. And if you do the things I've done and you've studied the things I've studied, well then yeah, you should have incredibly deep thoughts. But you haven't. And you're 18, you're not 40. And I'm not expecting that from you. What I'm expecting out of you is to do it, to try. Put effort into it. Think about what we're doing instead. Well, I can't do it perfectly, so I'm not going to do it at all. Really? Is that your approach to life? I understand what it is. There's something attractive about talking ourselves out of doing the work. I get it. And I also get, though, that if you actually did it, and you did it, not just scribbled words down the page, and like some people do, put big spaces between the words to try to get away with putting like 3 words per line, and say, what the hell, I did 2 pages. Did you, though? 3 words per line? That's a whole page. Come on, man. You know? And it's like, how much would it take you to actually do the actual thing? Well, first off, you won't know, because I give you a time right now while I'm talking. I'm repeating myself again from what I just said a few minutes ago. Do you think I don't realize I'm repeating myself? Do you think I'm completely unaware of the time and how much time I give you? Have you ever noticed that the time is always the same? It's never wildly different. It isn't like I talk for 10 minutes one day and an hour another day. Why? Because I have it timed. This class is way better prepared than you think it is. I'm giving you time to work and write. I'm giving you ideas. And yet, like you said, we convince ourselves, I can't do this. Yes, you can. Of course you can. I'm not asking you to get what I came up with. I'm not even asking you to have the right thing. If I'm asking you is that, what it does is it should get you writing, so it generates thoughts, so it gets you used to this process of thinking.